Surprise, surprise, everybody. I hope you're doing great. This is Kristian Kohle from the Kohle Audio Cult, and today we're going to talk about ribbon microphones. I know you guys love ribbon mics. We're going to talk about some of the most sexy looking and maybe best sounding ribbon microphones out there, and I'm talking about the ribbon mics from AEA Microphones. When I recently was in LA with Warren, I visited AEA in their workshop in Pasadena, and I did a very nerdy interview with the new CEO, Julie, about the history of ribbon mics and the history of AEA. And I know you like that stuff, right? So that's what we're going to watch in a minute. But let me tell you my personal AEA microphone story first. Recently, here in Germany, I got invited to Tool House Studios to do a rock metal drum recording session with ribbon microphones only. Not only overheads and room, everywhere, even on the shelves. And that was so interesting. And it sounded fantastic. I was really blown away, and that was one of the reasons for visiting the company. By the way, we turned this session into an entirely free drum recording course, including the multitracks. So if that sounds interesting, if you want to hear those drums, if you want to mix them yourself, stay tuned until the end of the video where I will be back and tell you how to download this, or just follow the link below. But now it's time to fly over to Pasadena and to do some ribbon microphone nerd talk with Julie. Enjoy. And now I'm here with Julie, who is the CEO, the boss at AEA. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming to visit us.
What a great place.
Thank you.
Feels like family, right?
It is family.
How many people are working here?
We have about 16 people in our shop.
That is family, almost. Big family, right?
Big family, yes.
And I got to say, I was really impressed. You might know I did that drum recording session in Germany.
Yes, thank you for that.
And didn't expect it to sound that great. I knew the R88.
Yes.
I worked with that as a room mic.
Yeah.
And I know ribbon mics, but this was like next level to me. And I did not expect them to sound great as closed mics on the drum shells and stuff. And so I expected this to be more of an experiment and interesting and more scientific or something. But it ended up sounding fantastic.
Did you think everything would be really dark?
Yeah, I expected it to be darker.
I
expected just to need a lot more, high-end boost and something. Yeah. I need a little boost here and there.
Sure.
But I mean, the mics take that really well. But it sounded awesome. So
well, we were super impressed by the video that you did as well.
Thank you. So so that's why I'm here. You know? Thanks for having me. Maybe let's start with the history of the company. Maybe there's the RCA heritage.
Well, you saw the mic museum that we had here and so forth, and in this building that we are in. Actually, Wes Dooley, the founder, he's been in this building since 1964. Back in the days, he's the local legend and an engineer in his own right. I think we talked briefly. He was actually offered to go engineer at Motown. Back in the 60s. He really kind of wanted to stay close to home. You have pictures of him from like 1964 where he was selling reverb chambers, the actual reverb chambers that look like mini mobile homes, and he's standing next to them, he's selling them. And that's how he got in this building. Originally, he was renting the building so he could resell, some audio equipment. And then he really, his ambitions were to start his own record company. And if you look on, all music, like big band type, marching band type records that came out on the AEA, music or AEA Records label. Yeah. The company was called AEA because Audio Engineering Associates, because Wes and his friends all were members of AES, Audio Engineering Society. Yeah. And so it started out as a place for engineers to come and hang out and do engineer things. So a lot of experimenting, with microphones, with outboard gear, with recording equipment and so forth happened here. By 1976, when RCA stopped manufacturing the 44BX, which is
the classic American ribbon mic, right?
I mean, and Wes would tell you that 44 the BX series was kind of like the golden era of those mics, because there were mics before, and I don't want to misquote them, but I know there was a model like a Model 90, and there were variations of that. They looked like the classic 44, but they were more industrial, like made en masse.
Okay.
So lots of quantities out there that were more utilitarian. And that 44 mic, somebody actually told me the history at NAMM last year was that the RCA 44BX was the most expensive microphone ever invented. And I thought, like, that's a big statement to make. So, you know, that sounds like something someone would just say. So I started looking online, and there is some history of it, some documentation online if you search. So around 1934, 36, RCA wanted to have a microphone because they're already so present in broadcast. Mm-hmm. They wanted to be in the movies, because by then movies are switching from silent to talkie, and they wanted to be in that industry. So something like, and don't quote me, but the number I saw was around $1.4 US in 1936 to develop this microphone.
Okay.
So there is history behind it.
Right. And then at some point, RCA stopped producing microphones?
Correct.
Right?
So in 1976, you know, they were in consumer wear. I mean, I grew up with an RCA television set, you know. Yeah. I think it probably was just cost prohibitive for them, because at that point, by 1976, I mean, ribbon mics, the ones that we know, Bayer, Audio-Technica.
Right.
I don't think people were touring with 44s on the road. You know,
no.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Neil Young were not using 44s on their guitars, even though they were using ribbons at that time. They stopped manufacturing. Wes was one of maybe 2 or 3 shops in the U.S. that was officially servicing these mics. So when they closed the factory, you know, to build the 44s, they gave him all the leftover parts, because he was an authorized service center, so to speak, you know, and it just kind of, he'll tell you, they basically handed him a packet of parts and said, "Good luck, kid." Okay. So
first it was service only for the existing mics?
It was service only.
Okay.
And then, so that carried on. The problem with that was in being in LA, where there are a lot of studios, and becoming that one place where people go to service these 44s. Once he was done with those RCA parts, they had to make their own parts locally here in LA so he could continue servicing the RCAs. Yeah, and Wes, and to this day, I mean, we're still we're official distributor and servicer for Kohle's mics as well.
Oh,
I mean, if you go on their website, like they list us as their distributor. Okay. So we kind of are the place where ribbon mics get a little love. So Wes started having parts built locally to continue servicing the RCA microphones. By 1998, I'm not sure what the official story was, but my sense of it, so if you're hearing it for the first time, if I'm wrong, Wes, please correct me, is that Royer came out with a 121, and they're up the street from us, and they're friends of ours as well. So when Wes thought, oh, there's a ribbon mic coming out of LA, we need a ribbon mic, and we have all the parts.
That was my introduction to the ribbon world, so to say, you know. Yeah. So when was that? Late 90s?
It was 1998 exactly. Yeah, right. I think at NAMM they showed the 121. So by AES of 98, AEA Ribbon Microphone Company was born, because that the R44 is something that we had all the parts to do. So officially, the R44C from AEA was born. So that's kind of what put AEA on the map as a microphone manufacturer.
But you're using the original, or you could take over all the original parts and machines and everything to be. Like,
no, not quite. I mean, not sure how it shook out, but basically, Wes has enough engineering mind, and certainly with some of the people that you've met here today, who've been with the company for more than 20 years and who saw the beginning of that, they basically had to go back and take the parts and figure out how to manufacture them.
Wow.
Yeah, because by the 90s, the people at RCA, you know, they've moved on to other things.
Sure.
And so when the mic came out, when the R44 came out, it was a museum replica of the original RCA. And I don't know exactly which parts have been changed, but it's not an exact replica either, because certainly there are parts that they were using back then. But we try to use, you know, like the ribbon that we use, you know, the 1.8 micron thickness. I mean, that's all like an homage to what they did, as close as they could. But then the things that don't lend it to being manufactured today in the 21st century, you know, obviously have been I don't want to say improved, but been adapted. Yeah. Because you can't improve on something that's perfect, right?
Right. But then again, it's like, it's not only about the replica of the old stuff. It's
correct.
I'm actually even more impressed by your modern ribbon microphones. So then you came up with your own designs.
The 84 was the first one, because the idea is a big ribbon, the legacy of big ribbon sound is everything about it. I mean, ribbons in general capture just more signal. I try to explain it to people today. Younger people like, well, when you're shooting photography, don't you want the raw footage? Because that's just more data.
Yeah.
Think of it like that. The ribbon captures more data. I mean, you can kind of boost it across the whole audio spectrum without distortion. Anything you want is still there.
Yeah.
Anything that you think if it's too much low mode, you can always reduce that, but all the signal is there. You're just working with more, right? And that's what a ribbon does. So it's like a high-end camera.
That was the first one?
That was the first one. I mean, Wes's story is his children were going to college and he needed a mic that can pay for college. Now I'm telling his story now, right? So, but that is basically bringing big ribbon into the 21st century, so to speak. Reintroducing big ribbon, and it's something that's more portable because obviously a 7 pound, a 4 kilo mic.
It's very sexy, but
yes, it's hard to travel with and to use on stage and on the road.
Yeah.
So that was the first mic coming out from AEA that was proprietarily ours. Still a throwback, obviously, looking like a 77. After that, then the next mic that came out that was exclusively ours is, of course, this 88 that you see behind you, the stereo mic.
Which I guess is the most popular mic, right? Or that's what I see the most in
It
studios.
is the most popular mic. And I think most studios, that people go into to record, they recognize the mic.
Yeah. I mean, they all have a very distinct and special look. All right. So I think it's time to move on. Last question. So you said that most of the parts actually come from the neighborhood, more or less?
Yeah,
all local?
Most of the parts, come from the area within driving distance of our offices, 20 miles. I should do the conversion since this is an international audience. 30 kilometers,
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just and oftentimes there are manufacturers that do parts for, say, aerospace or medical equipment because these parts are so specialized. It's not something that I can just go online and find on Amazon. I wish I could. Make it a lot easier.
But that's so cool. I mean, it's a little romantic almost, right? I mean, others make their mics in China, and you stay within 30 kilometers or something.
Correct.
With 15 people, and be like this.
Well, and then when people ask, I think I don't want to say it happened, but it did happen. When you see an Asian person take over a company like this that has a lot of American legacy, so to speak, then immediately people get really nervous. Is the manufacturing going to go offshore?
Oh, really? Okay. Mm-hmm.
It happens,
right? You forgot to mention that. So you took over.
I took over. Well, Wes was kind enough to leave me to manage his legacy. At the end of fall of 2022, I purchased the company from Wes because him and his wife wanted to retire, and his wife really wanted to travel the world, and this was the only way to get Wes out of his office.
Sure.
And on a plane was literally sign over the company. I mean, he's still part of our family, so to speak. Sure. I don't know if you saw he has a workshop here. He's welcome here anytime. And of course we have to draw on him for a lot of the legacy stuff. I mean, and he's actually working on a coffee table book and some kind of video memoir. Because he does want to leave us all of his knowledge as well. I mean, he's so passionate about sound in general, but about ribbon mics. I mean, right now he is the grandfather of ribbon mics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the guy, and we want to share that knowledge as well. So we're documenting all that. So my joke at NAMM, and funny or not, or in poor taste, anybody who asks, but do you get parts from China or whatever? I pull up a video of my children coming here to help out on the days off school, and I just say, I already have Asian kids who work at our factory. I don't even pay them.
All right. Thank you very much. So
thank you so much,
time
Kristian,
to move
for coming.
on. I hope you enjoyed our little interview. Usually the Produce Like a Pro folks like stuff like this. You're nerds as well, right? Anyway, let's talk about the course again. So I did this drum session with AEA mics only. We filmed the whole thing. It's a free course where you see me placing the drums, recording the drums, EQing the drums. You can download the multi-tracks even just to check out how cool that sounds. The studio has a very special room. It's kind of interesting. It's really cool. So you just follow the link below. It's completely free, no strings attached. You just got to register to Kohle Audio Cult, which is my academy, and kind of like the metal version of Produce Like a Pro. And then you can download that course Sounds good, right? And while you're at it, check out all the other cool courses we have at Kohle Audio Cult, or even become a member of the Academy, because from day one, if you are a cult member, you get all our courses. So if you are interested in recording, mixing, producing, or mastering any kind of heavy music, that's your place, okay? Check it out. Thanks for watching today. It was fun to be on this channel. Greetings to AEA Microphones. I'll be back soon. I see you in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye. Am I allowed to say that on this channel? I don't know.